You've said that you can't coach someone, at least truly, unless they feel safe, and that without safety, they can never give you everything that they have. So, in your experience, what does safety look like in a training environment? And is it important to build that before even asking for any effort at all from a client?
Great question. Now, when you say coaching, it obviously has such a a wide net, right? It could be coaching a football team, could be coaching, like you said, what I do one on one. It could mean, coaching girls versus boys. So that's a wide net. So I'll break it down a little bit. I think that when you start and it's your first day on the job, you got to just make sure that you are before you try to get someone to tell them, for them to tell you all their deep dark secrets and what they're not good at or they're injured or whatever it is that you may want to make sure you have all that good information so that you can coach them the best. You do have to lay the foundation of safety. And that could mean just keeping your word. It could mean, hey, if you say like the only kind of gear that's going to be allowed to be worn inside the cave is either unlabeled or cave labeled clothing, right? And if I come down hard and say that's just the rules of the cave, which that is not the rules of the cave, but say that was, I'm using this as an example because a professional head football coach in the NFL did this. And then the next day, he wore his old college's gear. So he threw off the whole safety and his trust because here he is hammering, you can only wear this kind of, our team's gear inside of the facility. The next day he's wearing, all Butler stuff or whatever it may be, wherever he was a coach before. And the players are like, they lose respect. They don't know what the standard is, right? The standard was set up here. Now the standard's different. And so safety, whether it's, these players need to feel safe. So all these stadiums have these giant fences around them so that, and like there might only be this one little spot and there's a, pommel horse in front of it and a police officer so that fans can't just go bum rush the field, right? Practice fields and things like that for both NBA, soccer, football, baseball, so the players are safe, right? In the room, I think a coach will say, hey, nothing leaves this room. And nothing does leave the room, right? When the coach meets with them one on one or as a group or as, an entire team, they set the standard that, anything that is said inside of these walls doesn't leave these walls. If they hold that standard, they will make the team feel safe. If they then go to the sports center anchor and then blah, 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 stuff that just came out of that room, they're not going to have built safety. So I think it's super important. It's the same thing if someone shares something with me in a workout that's personal, and then I share it with the next person that walks in. I think that you need to be a person of your word, but also at the same time, like safety is earned over time and over repetition of being the same person and generally having the same standard and also discussing what that is. I think that you talk about, like this is a safe environment. You and I respect one another. I think you do a great job with what you do. I appreciate you having me on. We build off of that safety. And it's the same thing, whether it's a client, a team, and some people need more safety than others, right? Like safety is a subculture of certainty, or that Maslow pyramid level, right? And so I think that is different for certain people.